Hey, hi everyone. It's Marquez here. Welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to talk about a topic that's incredibly relevant to creative folks, the world of digital assets. We live in a digital age where our photos, videos, and music can be shared, bought, and sold online. And that opens up a world of opportunities, but also a host of challenges. And recently, the rise of non-fungible tokens, or NFTs, has brought a wave of excitement, but also a share of skepticism. Are they really the game changer that they're all made out to be? And what about the traditional stock industry that many of us rely on to monetize our work? Is there a better way? In this video, we will dive deep into the challenges faced by creative people in the current digital landscape, from the speculative nature of JPEG NFTs and the dependency on platforms that may disappear. And we will talk about how inequitable the distribution of profits in the stock industry is. And most importantly, we will explore a groundbreaking solution that has the potential to change the game for all of us. And that's Ordinals and the BSV blockchain, the Bitcoin SV blockchain. So whether you're a photographer, a musician, a videographer, or any other type of creator, this video is for you. So grab a cup of coffee, sit back, and let's dive in. First, I want to square up with you about the buying and the selling of JPEGs as NFTs, non-fungible tokens. I must confess that I didn't really jump on this bandwagon because there were a few things I couldn't wrap my head around. And for those of you who made money trading NFTs, more power to you. For me, though, the whole idea of buying and selling JPEGs as NFTs, especially when some are being traded for thousands or even millions of dollars, seemed nonsensical. Unless, of course, the creators were famous artists, and in that case, buyers might have been investing in the brand of the artist, hoping to resell these NFTs at a higher price due to the rarity and the fame of the creator, then I'd understand. But even so, how can one verify the authenticity and the rarity of such purchases? Because JPEGs can be copied, they can be duplicated. So how can you be certain that your NFT is unique and it's not a replica? How can you be certain that the person you bought it from is the proper channel, the person who's actually been authorized by the copyright holder to grant you the license to use these images? Now, someone suggested that these JPEGs might be traded for exorbitant amounts because they represent something else, perhaps something illicit. And this theory posits that the trading of JPEGs is a facade for transferring money in exchange for illegal goods or services. It's a possibility, but I can't really say for sure. And maybe, just maybe, I'm completely misinterpreting this JPEG NFT trend. Because for me, the trading of JPEG NFTs seems like a speculative bubble, driven by the greater fool's theory. What does that mean? It means people are buying something they know is useless, simply because they hope to resell it at a high price later. This is the essence of the greater fool's theory. And a clear sign that a market is operating on this theory is when you know, deep down, that you are paying an inflated price for something, and the only reason why you're buying it is in the hope that someone else will buy it from you at an even higher, more ridiculous price in the future. And when the masses engage in this type of behavior, this leads to speculative bubbles. And like all bubbles, they inevitably burst. How do they burst? Well, eventually there comes a point when everyone who can be fooled has been fooled. Everyone has already invested. And when there are no more buyers willing to pay ridiculous high prices, the price ceases to rise. And eventually people start selling to lock in their profits. And as the market becomes saturated with sellers, the price plummets until the price aligns with the real value of the item. And when it comes to developments of technology, the value of something is almost always based on its practical utility, its use. Another concern that I had with NFTs was the fact that on these platforms, on many NFT platforms, they don't actually store the NFT on the blockchain. They just store a reference on the blockchain that points to a file of the NFT, supposed NFT, on a JPEG that's stored on a server, on a private server that they own. This didn't make sense to me, because why would you invest in something that could vanish if a website or business ceased operations? If the asset isn't stored on-chain, I would expect there to be a proof of ownership, a proof of asset transfer to be documented off-chain in case the platform does actually disappear. But I didn't see people creating or discussing contracts or agreements to document the transfer of ownership of these JPEGs. Now, these are issues that I've got with NFTs, but ordinals are somewhat different, because unlike most NFTs that are stored on a server owned by a private entity like a website or a business, ordinals are stored on a public blockchain. This means then that as long as the blockchain is maintained by anybody around the planet, the ordinal exists. A thriving business model that profits from selling or licensing rights to use creative digital assets like photos, illustrations, images, videos, and music is the stock industry. Stock photos, stock audios, and stock videos. These websites are frequented by businesses, big and small, to license digital assets for their products, websites, or marketing materials. And in return, these websites charge licensing fees to the users, which they then share with the creators who supply the digital assets. So if you're a photographer, for example, you can list your photos on their website, and if someone uses any of your photos, the website will pay you something, a share of your license fees or your royalty fees that they've collected from the customers. This multi-billion-dollar industry makes sense because it provides a way for people and businesses to make money. The digital assets, like the images, the music, and the video clips, are like raw materials. They're resources that individuals can use to earn money or that businesses can use to generate profit. However, a common complaint about many of these sites is that they retain a larger share of the profits than they distribute to the creators. The websites get richer while the army of creative individuals who supply them with thousands of photos, images, videos, or music every year barely make a living from their work. For creative individuals like photographers, musicians, videographers, Ordinals and the BSV, the Bitcoin SV blockchain, offer a solution to some of these challenges, enabling you to monetize your work without middlemen. In my case, and probably for most people, before we engage in buying and selling digital assets like JPEG, MP3, or MP4 files, we need to ask the following questions. Number 1, how will the digital asset benefit the buyer or the owner? In the multi-billion-dollar stock industry that we were talking about, the benefit is clear. People pay to license JPEGs, songs, or a film clip to use them as commodities or materials to make money, whether by creating or providing or selling a product or a service. Number 2, are the identities of the trading parties known? Does the buyer have legal recourse if the seller misrepresented or lied about the item? If someone claims that a JPEG scan of a Van Gogh painting is the only one in existence and therefore worth $1 million, how can you verify the authenticity of that claim? And if you fall for this, right, and later discover that it was a scam, who can you sue to recover your money? If you're selling the rights and ownership and control over an image, a song, or a film, then the identities of the parties involved must be established. There must be an agreement, a contract, on-chain or off-chain, that verifies the identities of the buyer and the seller, that verifies the details of the transfer of the asset or the granting of the licensing rights. And if it's licensing rights, what are the terms of use for that license? Number 3, do the digital assets rely on a business, website, or server that could disappear? For most NFTs, like we were saying before, the answer to this is yes. But we would prefer that the digital assets that we buy and the accessibility and the verifiability of them is not reliant on the ongoing concern of a single business or a website. And Ordinals solves this because they are themselves stored on the blockchain. The power of Ordinals and the Bitcoin SV blockchain lies in their ability to empower individuals, providing the tools and the means necessary to monetize their works, our works. As a timestamp server, the Bitcoin SV, the real Bitcoin, evidences the creation of your work once the final product is complete. Imagine there's two parties claiming to be the originator or the creator of a photo, or a musician behind a song. How is this dispute resolved? The key is to establish who can provide evidence of having the photograph or music first. Musicians have shared with me in the past that after composing a song, they would record it on a CD-ROM and mail it to themselves. And this way, the post office stamp verifies the CD-ROM's journey through the postal system on a specific date. The CD-ROM remains unopened until needed to resolve a copyright dispute. It serves then as evidence that the songwriter indeed composed the song at that time. So effectively, these musicians were using the postal system as a timestamp server. And this is now a role that the BSV blockchain can fill. Once an image, a video, or a piece of music is created or composed, the Bitcoin SV blockchain can timestamp it. If it resides in your wallet on a specific date and no one else can prove earlier possession, the blockchain verifies your copyright, a crucial first step before monetization. Number 2, the Bitcoin SV blockchain stores your creative works. No matter where you are, even if you've lost all your devices and you awaken from a coma years later, your ordinals will still be on the blockchain. The data is there for you to access. Number 3, the ownership, the possession, and or the control of your creative works can be transferred easily with minimal numbers of middlemen. With Ordinals and the Bitcoin SV blockchain, creative works inscribed as Ordinals can be transferred as easily as sending Bitcoins. Transferring Ordinals from one wallet to another can signify the transfer of ownership, transfer of control, the rights, and all the associated benefits, whether that be an image, a video file, or a music file. A contract or agreement that specifies the transfer details can be inscribed as an ordinal on the blockchain, providing additional documentation or proof of an off-chain agreement. So to sum it all up, in this video we've talked about the problem that artists and creators face in today's digital world, especially focusing on the issues with buying and selling digital artworks as NFTs, relying on platforms that might shut down, and unfair sharing of profits on platforms that exist today. We also took a hard look at the current NFT market, asking important questions about whether the digital art being sold is genuinely unique, rare, or valuable. We also discussed how Ordinals and the BSV blockchain offer a game-changing solution by helping creators make money from their work without needing middlemen, or at least minimizing the number of third-party services that we need to get things done. Ordinals and the BSV blockchain also provide a secure way to record, to store, and to transfer digital art. We highlighted the need to think carefully about spending lots of money on digital files, making sure that there are clear benefits for the buyer, and a way to actually assure us that the digital art will not disappear if a website shuts down. In the end, we pointed out how Ordinals and the Bitcoin SV blockchain can really change things for the better for creators, giving them the tools that they need to protect and make money from their work in a fairer and more stable way. In my next video, I'm going to show you practical demonstrations of how we can inscribe a creative work as an ordinal. And I'm going to test out 3 different platforms that cater for ordinals to find out what their advantages and disadvantages are so that we can know which platform to use depending on our purpose. So subscribe to this channel to be notified when I release this next video. Until next time, bye.